Hello, Carrie Burchell here with another episode of Shine Like a North Star. I am the proud owner of North Star Coaching, and part of our focus in the company is to help you shine your best. And today, I want to review 3 strategies to help you figure out if you're pushing a boulder, because if you are, stop it. It's just going to drive you crazy. So part of the work around pushing a boulder is really this idea that we all can shine like a North Star, and the North Star is not consistently bright, meaning we aren't always our best self, which means the people around us are also not their best selves all the time. So today is looking at 3 of those behaviors that you might see in your leader. You might even identify as a leader yourself, or you might see in some of your peers. And really first recognizing those behaviors in order to either help you shine like a North Star or help your colleagues become more aware so that they can shine like a North Star. We're not going for perfect here. We know that's impossible. We are going for progress. So when I say pushing a boulder, what comes to mind for you? Chat it in the chat and let's see if we can kind of together come up with a set of answers or definition, if you will, around pushing a boulder. So for me, pushing a boulder is forcing something to happen that's not ready to happen. Yeah, I am a self-identified past steamroller, and that behavior in me of steamrolling came from this place of like urgency and seeing hurt, seeing opportunity, seeing things that needed to happen that just wasn't ready to happen. And so I would kind of go in there too fast, right? So pushing a boulder for me really means like forcing stuff to happen that's not ready to happen. It could also be identified, some of you might resonate with this in your comments, as something that just isn't developed enough to move forward. Pushing a boulder, right? You might try to make some change happen that's just not ready yet, like the plan isn't solid enough. Pushing a boulder might also be a result of people's unwillingness to be vulnerable and really honest with themselves around what has them sort of resistant and being a boulder in whatever circumstance is going on. So as I said, we're going to look at 3 specific examples of where pushing a boulder might be evidenced. You might resonate with this as a leader. Same as what I was years and years ago of just coming from a good place, but steamrolling not good because of the boulders around me. And you may see this in other people, and that will help you identify where they're coming from. So the first thing I want to talk about is just straight up aggressive behavior. So you might have somebody on your team that interrupts people in meetings. They are dominant in conversations. They never give anyone recognition for any contribution they might have to a project. They're just aggressive. They take things from you. They undo your good work. The person seems unapproachable. They're going super fast. They're creating an environment, frankly, that doesn't really feel safe. So that sense of aggression can come from somebody feeling a sense of urgency, like we've got to do this. Unintentionally, that creates a boulder, right? That aggressive behavior, things are only going to get done if you do it that aggressor's way, right? That's a boulder. The aggressor is explosive and really not approachable, and so they become a boulder, right? So when you're around aggressive people, some strategies to identify that boulder is really be honest with yourself around what you can control, right? So if that person is a boulder because of their aggressive behaviors, then you have to ask yourself, what other stakeholders, who else is sort of channeling your true north, your goals, and seeing if there's another way to maybe approach the work that can help this person sort of let go of their boulder, let go of some of that aggression, help them see that maybe their aggressive way is losing them some political power, some decision making, some authority. They don't have access to information as much because people are going around them. They're a boulder, right? So some of that is recognizing first, like, I'm not going to go toe to toe with this aggressive behavior because it's just going to be explosive. Now, there are times when that works. So that's a different live episode. Generally, this one today is like, who's a boulder? They're mired in mud. It's a big rock. You can push on it all day long and it's not going anywhere. That aggressive person, they could be so stuck in their behavior that there's no point going toe to toe with them. So that's one behavior, is the aggressive behavior. The second one is forcing a conversation that you want to have happen. So sometimes people push a boulder because the person is being a micromanager. The person is not hearing you. The person is not seeing beyond the nose in front of them. The person is just interfering and getting stuck with progress. So you want to have a tough conversation with them to help them see how their behavior is not really helping. A tough conversation. Well, you have to ask yourself first, are they ready for a tough conversation? Now, I've got a wonderful training. You can text me or direct message me, text me too, if you want to be involved in that. And we talk about assessing people's readiness for a tough conversation, or starting to have the tough conversation and doing some assessment right off the first sentence or two around the other person's assessment. Just because I see the situation doesn't mean that they're ready for a tough conversation. Just because I see the person micromanaging, they're undermining you, they're not showing up well, just because I see all of these things doesn't mean that the person's ready for change, right? So they're a boulder because they're getting in the way of change. Is it a right thing to have the tough conversation, right? 10% of the population thrives on conflict, right? So some people are not going to ever be ready for the tough conversation because they don't want to have a compromising discussion where it's vulnerable and real and authentic. They just want you to have the hard conversation with them because they want to blow you out of the water because they love conflict. That's a boulder. You don't want to force the tough conversation if there's not some assessment first to look at the readiness for the tough conversation. The third boulder you might resonate with, and as I say, it might be you as a leader, it might be somebody you know, in your church group, in your family dynamics, I called it out, or other environments, right? This doesn't have to be just in a professional setting. But the third one is someone's about to make a bad decision. Oh, they have their arms around that boulder and they love this decision and they're not changing a darn thing. You want to go and push that boulder. You want to go and help them. This is a bad idea, right? We want to change this. You're gonna hurt yourself or others if you go through with this decision. It's gonna have a terrible impact on the ROI for the company. I don't know what made you think this was a bad idea. Well, you can go toe to toe convincing someone that their decision is a bad one and push that boulder all day long. And the point of today's live is really, you push boulders, you're the one tired. Did the boulder move? Not likely. And more often than not, when you try to force that boulder to move, it rolls back on you. So really, today is thinking about, what are the boulders around me? Is it someone who's too aggressive? Is it someone not ready for the tough conversation? Is it someone who really is mired in bad decision making or a bad decision? So recognize the boulder and stop yourself from pushing it. I mean, things are only going to go as fast as they're going to naturally go. The boulder is not moving. It's not a natural go anywhere kind of scenario. That's hard to accept. We'll do some future lives around strategies if someone is a boulder or the situation is a boulder, because a lot of that really boils down to your own emotional intelligence and really slowing down to think through what the options are so that you can go fast and still achieve and move forward and do the things that need to be done. Today is first slowing down together to say, who's pushing a boulder around? Who is the boulder around me, right? You see dynamics in your day-to-day life, at work, at home, other places, where you watch people push boulders and you know that's not going to go well. Or maybe you're pushing a boulder, driving home, walking home, reflecting from work, going, oh, that still really irritates me. I didn't make progress on whatever that was. Woo, you pushed a boulder. Or maybe you just recognize it ahead of time and you're calling it out. Like today's live helps you slow down to realize that's just going to hurt me, pushing a boulder. I'm going to either leave really frustrated from work, from the situation, or I'm going to try to push a boulder, and I'm just going to nudge the boulder enough where it gets momentum to fall back on me. We do not want that happening. So let me know what you have in terms of boulders around you. I'd love you to chat it in there. Are there circumstances, situations, people, observations you have around the boulders around you? That can be everything from, as I say, the aggressive behaviors, people not willing to have a tough conversation, or people also making bad decisions that they insist on doing. We all have those people in our lives. So let me know what the boulders are around you. I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to attend our Tough Conversations workshop, we're starting to offer these monthly. And so you can choose the dates for you that work. There are 2 sessions and they're cheap. So DM me if you want the details. Until then, be safe and no boulder pushing. Bye. Carrie Burchell signing off.